I've been shaken to the core, Hugh. God knows the flesh is weak, and which one of us is perfect. But where's it all going to end?
What, Arthur? Where is all what going to end?
What? Oh, sorry? A corruption and knavery. The loss of all the old virtues that made us what we are. I mean, one feels like giving it all up and going back to the soil. The wind in one's face, a dog under one's heels, a gun under one's arm. Well, that's what it's all about.
Arthur, would you like to take it from the beginning?
Sorry? What? Oh, yes. Well, from the beginning. I was walking very quietly down the street, very quietly, and for some reason I stopped. I don't know why I stopped, but I did. I just stopped. And then I was outside Macduff's. And I couldn't help noticing in the window a game, a board game, Hugh, but not one of our games. So you can imagine my astonishment when I saw that it was a copy, an exact reproduction of a game that is currently being developed in my department. No. You can rule out coincidence. Everything about the game was the same, including the name.
Oh.
Yes, I can see. You're as speechless as I was.
I don't know how speechless you were, Arthur.
Well, there are no degrees of speechlessness, Hugh. That is why I chose the word.
But then you shouldn't have said as speechless. The use of the adverb as suggests a degree.
With respect, Hugh, one does not complain about the quality of the orchestra as the liner sinks beneath the waves.
But is the liner sinking, Arthur?
Well, that is what I'm trying to say.
Please, don't get touchy. I mean, I was only asking.
No, I'm sorry. No, no, I'm terribly sorry. That was inexcusable. I mean, this whole rotten business has caught me on the jaw. I mean, on the raw. And for a moment, I just lost control.
Now, what was this other game called?
Oil well.
Well, we haven't got a game called Oil Well.
But we have got a game called Driller.
Well, that's not the same as Oil Well.
But only 2 nights ago, I decided to change the name from Driller to Oil Well.
Ah. But then this other game must have been on the market long before that.
Well, it may have been 2 nights, it may have been 2 days, it may have been 2 weeks. I mean, it may have been last year.
Yes, but if it was only in your mind, Arthur...
I talk in my sleep. Quite loudly sometimes.
Yes, but surely, I mean, Mrs. Devenish...
Hugh! The body is sick. Some blackguard is eating our salt with one hand and selling us down or up the river with the other. We are the victims of industrial espionage.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
There is no room for doubt.
None.
None! I'm sorry, Hugh. That was an error.
Yes. Well, I'll have a word around.
Oh, the worst possible thing, if I may be so bold.
Well, I
mean, this canker must be cut out.
Oh, quite. But how?
I'm not presuming to suggest that you should involve yourself personally, physically, in the flesh, or in person. I'm volunteering for that duty myself. All you have to do, Hugh, is to give me the nod, and I shall volunteer for this job myself, and tackle it professionally and to the bitter end.
Yes, but how will you go about it, Arthur?
I have my own ways of doing these things, Hugh. I mean, perhaps it might be better if you didn't know too much. I mean, industrial espionage is a dirty business. This won't be any tea party. Right, Braithwaite. What did they pay you? We're not fools, you know. Whatever they gave you, it wasn't enough. You've just thrown away your career, your good name, everything. You must feel pretty sick.
Well, not too bad, actually.
I see. So you don't deny it?
What?
Don't be a fool. Come clean. Tell me everything, and I'll see what I can do. It'll be prison, of course, but I might manage to be able to get the sentence reduced.
What have I done, Arthur?
You have heard of Potter's parlour pursuits, I suppose?
Yeah.
Yes, I see. And you were quite unaware that they were marketing a game developed in my department.
What game's that, then?
I'm not talking to you, Box. When I am, you'll know.
Yeah, I'm quite unaware.
I'm talking about Driller.
Oh, that doesn't work, Arthur.
No, it doesn't work for us, but apparently Oil Well does for Potters.
But Oil Well's rubbish.
I won't tell you again, Box!
Arthur, I've just seen
Oh, for
evidence.
God's sake, Biddlecombe! This is not a Quaker prayer meeting.
Well, it's about his rubber plant.
It's about his what? Did you say rubber plant?
Yes, it's just that he wants someone to water it whilst he's away in Acapulco.
You are not seriously suggesting that I, Arthur P Devenish, should go around and water Neville Liversedge's rubber plant? I mean, you're not seriously promulgating...
Not you, Arthur. You're a young lady.
Out of the question. Takes Miss Nuttall every minute of the day looking after my requirements. Now, would you mind? Or would you like to sit in a corner and take shorthand notes?
I don't do shorthand.
You don't do shorthand, I see. Well, we could speak very slowly.
You'd better tell Neville, then.
Yes, and ask him if he'd like me to pop round and feed his cat.
What a liberty.
Shocking. Well, one can't condemn a man just because he was brought up in a slum. Sure, one would have thought some style will have rubbed off from the, well, from me.
Acapulco, eh?
That's because Mr. Fitzjoy went there last year. Otherwise, it would have been New Brighton again. Oh, pure folie de grandeur. Typical of the man.
Wonder where you got the bread.
Bread?
The ready.
The ready?
Money.
Money? Money. Right, come on now. Go on back. Back on. The meeting's over. Go on back to the shop floor. Acapulco, eh? Wealth. Unexpected riches.
No sign of him, Mr. Liversedge.
Are you sure, Mrs. Cockhill?
Yes, if you're quick. Good luck.
After Acapulco, I hear, Daredevil.
What? Echo what?
Acapulco.
No, Arthur, just to the bathroom.
I was referring to next week.
Who told you?
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were trying to keep it dark. Never mind who told me. A voice on the phone, an anonymous note. I get to hear most things.
We normally go to New Brighton.
Oh, yes. And then circumstances change, don't they? And things pop up, surprises, windfalls.
Alice said she was tired of New Brighton.
Oh, yes. And then fate put the means within your reach.
Windfall, what do you mean?
Is there anything you want to tell me, Neville? There's something on your mind?
Oh, you must have put your arm on my
I mean,
shoulders.
a word now, you know, could save a lot of tears later.
I wish you wouldn't.
How is old Potter these days?
Potter?
Potter Parlour Pursuits.
He died in 1952.
Oh, really? You keep in touch, do you? You pop round there, the odd glass of sherry, the occasional favour?
No, most certainly not. Oh.
Angela. Angela. Shut the door. Listen very carefully. For some time now, I have suspected the existence in this company of a Trojan horse. A spy. In a word, a spy.
Yes, Mr. Devenish.
My investigations have led me into some pretty dark corners, and I've come up with some pretty remarkable facts. Obviously, I can't confide in you, because you're far too junior, as well as being a woman. But I am able to say that my suspicions have fallen on, well, we shall call him X. Now, X may well try and throw me off the scent, so you must be on your guard against him.
Against who?
Against X.
But who is X?
I can't possibly tell you that. However, something else has come up quite unconnected with this. Do you understand? Quite unconnected.
Yes, Mr. Devenish.
I am able to say that while Mr. Liversedge is in Acapulco, he requires someone to water his rubber plant. You will ring Mr. Middlecombe and tell him that I've agreed that you should do just this.
Walter X's rubber plant.
Correct. Well, thank you, Angela. Congoed. This is D. Listen, if you didn't use so many bugging devices, you might be able to hear what people say on the phone. No, I don't want you. I want your skeleton keys and your Minox camera. What? Yes, of course I could use them. My Dachshund could use them. And I want you to deliver them to reception in a parcel marked, let me see, oh yes, high explosive. That should stop the thieving postroom staff. First thing, Monday morning, over and out.
my dear. You've come to water the rubber plant.
Yes.
I suppose I could have done it myself. But dear Mr. Biddlecombe wouldn't hear of it. Not a senior secretary.
Of course not.
And how is your dear father? I always thought him such a charming man. My dear Mr. Coghill was the same at that age. But he was very kind to animals.
Managing director on the phone. Talk all day if I let him. My God, I mean my word. What an unexpected pleasure.
Mr. Liversedge isn't here today, I'm afraid, Mr. Devenish. Can I help you?
You? Well, I don't know. I mean, isn't it a bit late? I mean, won't Mr. Coghill... What am I talking about? I'm sorry.
Miss Nuttall has just been telling me about her young man.
Oh, really? That shouldn't have taken her long.
He sounds perfectly charming.
Mrs. Coghill, I really haven't got time to discuss adult delinquency now.
And I have a lot of work to do.
Pad, Miss Nuttall.
What?
To the head of Labour Relations. Subject, unspeakable language. Begins. It has come to my notice that certain lady members of the staff have been subjected to foul language by people while unloading filthy lorries. The words in question are... Mrs. Coghill, there are certain parts of this memorandum you might not wish to hear.
Really?
Yes, really. I mean, regretfully, I have to use the vernacular of the unloading bay, which you might find distressing.
Do you really think so, Mr. Devenish?
Yes, I really do think so. I mean, if I find it distressing, and I've knocked about quite a bit, I'm quite sure you will, Mrs. Coghill. There we go. That's a very wise decision, Mrs. Coghill. There's your hand. Good night, and sweet dreams. Good night.
You've got to the particular words in question where?
You don't imagine I would use such language, do you?
Well, not normally, Mr.
I mean, I
Devenish,
would speak the words out loud in your hearing. Leave blank spaces, Miss Nuttall, and I shall fill the words in when you've left the room. Go on.
Oh, I see.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Devenish.
Good night. Good night, Miss Nuttall. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Well, as you know, Jeremy, I absolutely adore beautiful dogs. But the trouble with a borzoi is, what does one wear with it? Yes, of course, as soon as Frankfurt gets back to me. Oh, and good luck with the IMF. Bye, Jeremy.
If you're busy...
No, of course not. Do come in, Neville. Ah, Mrs. Coghill. How nice. Do come and sit down. Good holiday, Neville?
yes, and no. The room was very clean, but we couldn't find a comfortable deck chair in the whole of Acapulco.
Well, that's abroad for you.
You did send for us, that's right.
Not me, Devenish. Apparently something frightfully serious has come up and Arthur wants to talk to us all.
Huh?
Ah, come in, Harold.
If you're not too busy, Mr. Fitzgerald.
No, not at all, Harold. You are one of the dramatis personae.
Oh, am I? If you've any complaints, you've only got to say so. You know that, don't you?
Do just come and sit down, Harold. There's a good fellow.
Perhaps Arthur will have an accident in the corridor.
Ah, yes, it's, Wilfred and Roger, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Wilf and Rog, as a matter of fact.
Well, you'll find a couple of seats, and over there. Well, now, gentlemen and lady, I can't tell you exactly what all this is about, but Arthur seems to think he's uncovered something pretty nasty, so this is really his meeting.
Point of information, Brother Chair.
Well, we're quite informal here, Wilf. Just wait for a suitable silence and then speak.
You say that Arthur's on the warpath. Should Roger and me have brought our solicitor?
Oh, good heavens, no, it's not going to be that sort of meeting, just a friendly exchange of views, nothing unpleasant.
Nice holiday, dear Neville. What? Oh, pretty pricey, Acapulco, so they tell me.
May I be excused
No
for
one
a
leaves
moment?
this room. Because one of you has a secret to hide. A spy in the pay of an industrial rival. When I brought this to the notice of the managing director, he instructed me to drop everything and root out this villainy.
Well, I didn't say that exactly.
Which is what I've done.
Oh, really?
I consulted my references, drew up my list of suspects, and then applied the microscope. You, madam, and gentlemen, are on that list.
I'm sorry, Arthur. What list was that? Is it for a raffle?
A wager with fate might be nearer the mark, particularly as you are on the head of my list.
Oh, good.
My list of suspects.
Oh.
I filled in 3 loose-leaf, spiral-back, reporter-type notebooks with your activities, and pooh, pretty lurid reading they make.
They are very good little books, aren't they?
Likewise with our esteemed and respected company director. In a matter of hours, I discovered that Mr. Liversedge not only had the motive and the opportunity, he left the country within minutes of the commencement of my investigation.
I really do prefer New Brighton. May I be excused for
I
just a
don't
moment?
advise it, Mr. Liversedge. It might look rather odd, don't you think? Because other names came up in the course of my investigations. You have a grandmother, have you not, Braithwaite?
Well, everyone's got a grandmother.
Not one that lives in Stoke-on-Trent. Within a half an hour cycle ride of the potter's factory.
Go and phone Leslie. Right.
Who is this, Leslie?
Our solicitor.
Oh, but really, gentlemen, that won't be at all necessary. I'm sure Mr. Devenish didn't actually mean that your grandmother was implicated.
The question mark remains.
Let's get Leslie.
No, no, please, Arthur, that is slander.
Not if I can prove it.
And can you?
Yes, of course. Here, on the desk, amongst my documents, proof. Absolute.
Good. Oh.
You won't want me anymore, will you?
Everyone, can you remain seated?
But you said that he...
Proof, yes. But at whom does it point? I didn't actually say it pointed at Braithwaite, did I?
Oh, you're playing games with us.
I thought you said it was a raffle.
Here, madam and gentlemen, here, in this envelope, is the damning evidence. But at whom does it point? Is it Braithwaite? Or is it Box, who has remained suspiciously quiet? Or Neville Liversedge? Or his charming assistant, Mrs. Coghill? Or could it be Harold Middlecombe?
Oh, I don't think so. I never win any of these things.
We are talking about the clandestine sale to our rivals of a ball game called Oil Well Oil Driller. Now, madam and gentlemen, what have we here? An oil derrick. It's a representation, of course. The real thing's bigger. And where, I hear you ask, where was it found? It was found in a drawer, in a desk, in this very building, where I photographed it. And now to the next question, and perhaps the most ultimate question. In whose desk? A pretty thing, my dear Neville.
Oh, well done, Mr. Liversedge. Funny thing, I don't remember buying a ticket.
That's not an oil derrick, it's the Eiffel Tower.
For God's sake, Liversedge, you've been trapped by a superior brain.
It is the Eiffel Tower.
Liversedge, try to behave like a man.
Mrs.
Under the
Cog-
research stuff.
Mrs. Coghill brought it back to me from her visit to Paris.
Oh, I didn't go alone, of course. I went with my friend, Mrs. McKechnie.
I see. Mrs. Coghill gave it to you, this oil derrick, which she hoped to pass off as the Eiffel Tower.
We shared a most charming double room. We had thought of getting singles, but we decided it was safer not to.
Hey, come in.
Not now, Angela.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Mrs. Devenish sent this by special messenger.
Take it away.
Well, she said she found it on your shelf in your garage and thought it might help with your investigations.
Excuse me, sir. My investigations are complete. The villain is unmasked.
If Mrs. Devenish sent it up specially, I think we should take a look.
Oh,
I didn't know there was a consolation prize.
You say this was found in Mr. Devenish's garage?
Under a pile of old newspapers. Mrs. Devenish said it must have been there for years.
Gusher. Copyright Happy Games, 1952.
That's an absolute slander. Someone must have planted it there during the night. Well, who was it?
That means that Arthur nicked the idea in the first place from Happy Games. All Arthur.
Excuse me, Mr. Fitzgerald.
It's you, and you put it up to it.
It's not an oil derrick, it is the Eiffel Tower. It says so at the bottom.
Well, now we've found the real culprit, you won't be wanting me and Wilf anymore, will you, Hercule?
How dare you?
I don't understand why you didn't destroy the evidence. You should always do that first.
You're not serious suggesting that I, Arthur P. Devenish, have ever set eyes on this game before? Please, look, come back, all of you. I mean, I drop all charges.
Arthur, come and sit down. There's a good fellow. You know, you're looking rather tired.
I've never felt fitter in my life.
Bags under the eyes. You've been overdoing it, perhaps.
Things have to be overdone. By me.
Well, of course, I quite understand, Arthur. Perhaps you ought to take a little holiday, say, a month in Acapulco.
Oh, Hugh. A month in Acapulco.
All expenses paid.
Oh, paid.
By you.